What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's ThoughtLoad. I am Tyler, and I am back after a few weeks away from ThoughtLoad. A lot of work coming in, a lot of family stuff. Got a kid knocking on the door right now, so we'll be brief. We'll get into this, and before, I think right after the last ThoughtLoad I did was the a weekend I attended Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within. And it was a virtual format, but it was still really impactful, really good. So the next couple episodes here that I'm going to do are going to reflect some of the things that I learned and picked up on, as well as some ideas that kind of coincide or go along with what he was teaching. And the thing that I wanted to bring up today is it was funny because I saw an Instagram video a week before the Unleash the Power Within event of this idea called the region beta paradox, and loved the video, thought it was great, and wanted to pursue learning a little bit more about it. And then over the weekend, Tony said something that reminded me of it that literally was like the same thing. And the thing that he said was, good is the enemy of great. So when we have things that are good, right? They're not great. They're not excellent. They're not outstanding. Outstanding is like the top word for Tony Robbins when it comes to levels of amazing, I guess. I'm not really sure how to describe that. But yeah, when he said good is the enemy of great, I was thinking of oftentimes we have a lot of things that are good in our life, right? Things that we probably might take for granted a little bit, but things just like having a job, being in a stable relationship, are things that are good, but they're not great. They're not outstanding. And this is where this idea of the region beta paradox comes into play. And so the definition of it is it's the phenomenon that people can sometimes recover more quickly from more intense emotions or pain than from less distressing experiences. So let me give you a few examples. So the example they gave in the video that I saw was, think about you have to travel somewhere. And if it's a place that is a mile or less from you, you walk. But if it's over a mile, you drive. So if you think of travel as your situation, obviously having to travel farther is quote unquote a worse situation than only having to travel half a mile or so. But what ends up happening is when it's that distance is a mile or less, you walk. And when it's a mile or two, you drive. And so when you're driving, you're obviously going to get to your destination that is farther away faster than you would if you were walking somewhere that was less than a mile from your location. And so it's kind of this idea that whenever we're in a worse situation, sometimes we get to where we need to be faster than if our situation was just okay. Let me give you another example. So look at your job. Maybe your job's okay, right? You enjoy what you do a little bit. Your boss isn't totally a complete ass or something. You kind of get along with some people that you have, but it's not that dream job. It's not that meaningful work that you're passionate about. When your job is good, you're probably just going to stay there. You know that you want something more meaningful. You want something that you're more passionate about, something that aligns with your beliefs and values more than maybe what your current career path or your current role or position is. But you're not going to do anything about it because it's just good enough. It's passable. There's not enough there to be like, I need to take action. Whereas if your job situation was horrendous, your boss was a total dick, you didn't get along with anyone you worked at, you didn't believe at all in what the company or the corporation or whatever it was that you worked for was doing, and you realize maybe the pay is also terrible for the amount of responsibility and work that you have. And so that's a pretty bad situation, and you're going to be intrinsically motivated to get out of that situation and pursue something that is better. And if you take a look at another example, look at a relationship. Maybe you have a good, solid relationship. Nobody's cheating on each other. You're not getting into crazy arguments or whatever. It's not an abusive relationship. It's just good enough. It's passable, but you're wanting more. There's something that's missing. You just can't quite put your finger on exactly what it is, but it's just good enough. Whereas if you were in a relationship where you were being abused, whether physically or verbally, it was a terrible situation where you didn't get along with your significant other's family and they didn't want you around, just didn't have any potential long-term view of where your current relationship was going, it's going to be a lot easier for you to become motivated to change that situation. And so again, going back to what Tony said, that good is the enemy of great. When things are just passable for us, when things are just good enough, we tend to just sit in stagnation. They use the term comfortably numb. And when we fall into that frame of mind, which I fall victim to a lot and have over the course of my years of life, we just tend to want to change some things and we work a little bit at it, but because things are passable, we don't feel the immediate threat. We don't have that physiological or psychological punch to pull ourselves out of the bad situation or the passable situation that we're in. Whereas when we're in bad situations, when we're in dire need to make a change, we make it happen. Or at least it's a lot easier for us to make it happen. And so the point of all this, the point of me bringing this topic to you, is just to take a look at some areas where you might be experiencing this paradox. I know I have a few myself that I need to work on a little bit. But what we can do is when we realize that this phenomenon is out there, that this region beta paradox exists, and it is psychologically proven that there is a response from our brain when we are in these just passable or really bad situations. The effect and the amount of change that we take and the quickness of it dramatically increases when those situations become extremely, on the extremes, on the bad side, the bad end. And so what we can do with this knowledge is just to look at some things that, we really want to change, we want to improve on, or we want to make that job switch, or we want to end a relationship that we've been in for a while because, maybe we've thought things that are, there's just nobody else out there, or maybe you think that it's just the effort to change that situation is going to be too much because on the other side, it is an unknown, right? It is a little bit of a mystery what the outcome is going to be of getting rid of the good or passable thing in pursuit of the outstanding or the excellent or the great, whatever term that you want to use. And so when we look at these areas, when we look at these things that are just good enough, that are passable in our lives, we need to realize, are we just sitting comfortably numb? Are these things just passable enough for us that we're really not motivated to give ourselves the best chance at creating something outstanding, to put ourselves in an excellent situation? And so I hope with this idea of the region beta paradox, there might be a few things that jump out at you that, oh man, that's me. That's my situation. And now we know what we can do with it. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate the understanding of the time off. Thankfully, Nico held it steady, kept the thought loads coming out. And looking forward to the next couple weeks here as I dive into some more content from Unleash the Power Within and some things that coincide with that. So hope you all have a great rest of the week. Outstanding weekend. Not just a good weekend, an outstanding one. And we'll catch you next time on ThoughtLoad. And as always, begin the duel, win the day.